Did you know there are houses in America that eat people? In this video, we're going to tell you about one such house. This is a true story of horror and mystery that has remained unsolved even after all these years. A house that eats people. What does that mean? Well, it means that anyone who enters the house never comes out. It sounds like something from a movie, but the scariest part is that it's real. And today we'll tell you how a house ate 7 people. Welcome back, I'm here. And let's get started with the scary story. Part 1, the beginnings. Before we jump into the ghastly details of the home that ate 8 people, we first need to know the history of the place. To do so, we have to travel back to the year 1928 when the events that turned this home into a murder weapon began. In October of that year, George Wilson moved into a large house at 406 North State Street in the city of Belvidere, Illinois. George was the owner of the local funeral home and had no idea he was buying a nightmare. But it wasn't long before strange things began to happen. While still unaware of the macabre secret of his new home, George called an electrician to install a new heater. But when the worker arrived, he refused to enter the house because it looked as if someone had died there recently. Terrified by the appearance of the mansion, the electrician fled without finishing the job. As time passed, and no one came forward to buy the home, the new owner found himself unable to use the building for any purpose. Soon after, he sold the property to Philip and Mabel Colby. The Colbys didn't seem to mind the rumors about the house or the fact that its previous owner had tried to sell it for half the price. They brought their 2 sons and moved right in. Not much is known about their lives in the house, but we do know that they were a religious family and participated actively in their church. They also liked to throw parties for other members of the congregation. It was during one of these celebrations that tragedy struck. Part 2, the disappearance of the family. It was January 1937 when the Colby family hosted a party at their home. On that day, the celebration lasted until late at night. At midnight, a police car passed by the house and its headlights illuminated the windows where dozens of silhouettes could be seen dancing and drinking. But the next morning, when the sun rose, those silhouettes had disappeared. Philip, Mabel, and their 2 sons were nowhere to be found. When the neighbors noticed that the curtains had been pulled and the garage door was closed, they assumed that the family was sleeping. But when no one answered their calls, they decided to investigate further. They broke a window to enter the house and found signs that the family had left abruptly. There were dinner plates on the table, and the clothes the family had been wearing the night before were found in their bedrooms. The only thing missing was the Colbys themselves. What could have happened to them? That's what the police tried to find out. They searched everywhere, but couldn't find any trace of the missing family. Philip's body was discovered in the basement, his hands tied behind his back. He had been shot in the head, but what had happened to the rest of the family and who was responsible for the crime remained a mystery. The investigation took another turn when police found a note hidden under one of the floorboards. It read, "Don't look for us. We are dead." But who wrote the message? Was it the killer? Part 3, the legend. As the days went by and the investigation stalled, rumors began to spread about the house. People started to believe that the Colby family hadn't simply vanished. Instead, trapped inside the house forever. According to legend, the house itself had eaten the family. This is because the home on North State Street had a dark past. Before George Wilson bought it, it had belonged to a woman named Helen Viola. She lived there with her father, John D.H. Wilson, who had made a fortune manufacturing coffins for the railroad companies. When John died, Helen inherited the money and set up her own coffin factory across the street from her home. But she was an eccentric woman who kept to herself and became obsessed with death. The locals said she would dress all in black, walk around the neighborhood carrying a skull, and invite children into her house to play with embalmed bodies. It wasn't long before authorities stepped in and shut down her business. But Helen didn't take this lying down. She sued the town and won. She then began holding seances at her home, inviting prominent figures from around the country. Some claimed to have seen ghosts in the house, while others said they witnessed objects moving on their own. Helen continued living there until her death in 1926, 2 years before George Wilson bought the house. But some believed that her spirit had remained there, causing all sorts of chaos. Perhaps that is why the electrician refused to work there, or the Colbys had somehow angered Helen's ghost and paid the ultimate price. Part 4. The Aftermath. Whatever the truth, the legend of the house that ate people was born. The case attracted a lot of attention, and paranormal investigators flocked to Belvedere, hoping to uncover the secrets of the home. Some claimed that they felt a cold spot on the second floor where the Colbys' bedroom was located. Others said they heard strange sounds and even saw apparitions moving through the rooms. Even more shocking was what they found buried under the floorboards. As investigators removed the boards, they uncovered several human bones, including a skull and femurs. The discovery sent shockwaves throughout the community, and many people believed that the house had indeed devoured its inhabitants. However, the police weren't convinced. They suspected that whoever had written the note had taken the bodies and buried them under the floorboards to make it look like the house had eaten them. But this theory fell apart when an excavation revealed no other remains. To this day, the fate of Philip, Mabel, and their 2 sons remains unknown. Some believe they were murdered by an intruder who then staged the scene to make it look like a supernatural event. Others argue that the house really did eat the family, though how exactly that happened isn't clear. Part 5. The house today. What's even scarier is that the house is still standing. After the investigation, it was purchased by a local pastor who apparently wasn't afraid of ghosts or cannibals. He used the building as a church for several years, but eventually it was converted into apartments. To this day, people report seeing strange shadows and hearing disembodied voices coming from inside. Some say they've even seen the ghosts of Philip, Mabel, and their sons wandering through the halls. But whether or not these stories are true, one thing is certain: the legend of the house that ate people has lived on for decades. And now you know all about it. Do you believe the Colbys were eaten by their own home? Or do you think there's another explanation for what happened to them? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And while you're there, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an upload. We'd also like to take a moment to thank our supporters whose names you can see on screen right now. If you want to see your name on the screen too, then become a supporter today. Thanks for watching. I'm your host, and we'll see you next time.